Joining us right now is the aforementioned Dana Loesch. Dana, you are such a troublemaker. What have you gotten yourself into now?
I don't know. I picked up a phone. That's all I did.
Well, listen, this came Friday on your show, and I know that you had said that your producers had vetted Josie at the time. What did you guys know about her, and how did you confirm it?
We vetted her number. That's what I wanted to do because, when you're doing a live radio show, and you guys know this, when, you get calls in, it's not like you can pause your radio show and immediately run like a background check on your callers. So when we had somebody,
we sort of wish we could sometimes, though, Dana. Let's face it.
Oh yeah, between us, radio people, let's go ahead and say that's true. but no. So she called in, and whenever I'll have a weird call, my call screener will place an asterisk by it, just so I can kind of have a heads up. And this one, she said she was claiming her name was Josie. She immediately said, "I am not going to use my real name. I'm going to use a fake name, but." I'm friends with Officer Wilson, and again, I want to emphasize it's unverified, and I feel it's important to say that because you never know, and I'll explain the reasoning for posting the audio. But so I wouldn't put her on air until I got a legit phone number from her. I'm like, I'm not putting her through until I have a number a number that we can call right now before. So we got that, ended up putting her on air, and I just wanted to see what she had to say. If she was a kook, she's a kook. But if it turns out that she's legitimate, and this was the reason for my posting the audio, I wanted to see if what she said and what her account of Darren Wilson's side was, if it matched up with the results of the investigation, the use of force report, the use of the incident report,
and we're hearing that indeed is the case.
Yeah, well, and that's what I've heard from a number of actually news agencies. I've been speaking with everybody from ABC to CNN folks to Fox folks, and they were saying that what they're hearing from their FBI sources is that her account is legitimate. Now, when they decide, I wish that they would have gone public with that a little bit sooner, but I guess it's another story. But and here's the other thing. So after, and I haven't said this publicly yet. So after. The call concluded with Josie because she said what she was going to say, and then when she was done, I couldn't get anything more out of her. So she then called my station back and wanted to speak to my programming director, which I thought was odd. If it's somebody who's going to be a prankster, it's not somebody that they don't usually call back and want to talk to your programming director. So she called back, asked to speak with my programming director, and said, "Look, I'm not trying to prank the station. I just wanted to call in and give his side." And that was it. So I've been actually texting back and forth with this individual. I've called and I've left a ton of messages, and they haven't called me back, and they haven't picked up the phone. But she, or Josie, I guess, I've been texting back and forth trying to get a little bit more. She won't say anything else on the record, and right. I don't know if it's because it's an official police gag or the family's asked her not to speak publicly.
Right.
So
now, having laid all that out, and having told the story of how you came in contact with Josie, and the fact that news organizations have contacted police and police have verified, yes, this is the same account that Officer Wilson is giving, so it has the ring of authenticity. Let's hear a little bit about what Josie had to say.
Yeah, I want to play two quick clips here and then get your reaction, Dana.
Punches him in the face, and then, of course, Darren grabs for his gun, and Michael grabs the gun. At one point, he's got the gun totally turned against his hip, and Darren, shoves it away, and the gun goes off. Well, then Michael takes off with his friend. They get to be about 35 feet away, and, Darren, of course, protocol is to pursue. So he stands up and yells, "Freeze!" Michael and his friend turn around, and Michael starts taunting him, "Oh, what are you going to do about it?"
And Dana Loesch, up until this point, all we had heard were the accounts of Michael Brown's cohort there, who right before this incident, they had just strong-armed a convenience store. We heard him on MSNBC saying, that they were unarmed. They were saying, "Don't shoot. We don't have any weapons." And his account was much different. And the Reverend Al Sharptons of the world were suggesting that this guy was just stopped and he was harassed by the police just for walking down the street being black. How does Josie's account counter what we've been hearing from those people?
Well, one of the things that I noticed last night is that the St. Louis Post-Dispatch had published a piece where they were saying that there were 12 witnesses who had come forward and were verifying the officer's account of what took place that Saturday afternoon. And if they're verifying the officer's account and law enforcement are saying that this woman's account is essentially the officer's account, that's huge, because that would mean that that is the first real consistent story that has emerged from this in the week plus since there's been rioting and looting. So that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, we had not heard any of this before, that there was a struggle at the squad car, that basically, it's according to Josie, that Michael Brown tried to shove him back into the car by slamming the car door on him as he tried to get out, the officer, Darren Wilson, and that there was a struggle for the gun and that the gun went off. We'd heard none of this before now.
Right. I think the extent that we'd heard is that they were maybe struggling inside of the car, but we didn't get any details like that. We didn't know exactly how it got to the street. The big questions that it seems the community had was, how did it go from being inside the car to him being 30 to 35 feet away from the car out the street? And that seems to answer this question.
Dana Loesch, you see her on The Blaze, of course, and theblaze.com and her national show. But Dana, your roots are there in St. Louis. Your show started, you used to live in St. Louis. You just said, you wish the Ferguson cops had put this information out earlier. That's exactly what we've been saying, too. What do you know about this community, and what do you know about the police force? What's going on with these guys?
Well, I'll say this: I've been critical of the way that law enforcement chiefs, and I want to be very careful and not conflate those men and women who go out in the streets every day in their blues to serve the community, because I think you can fully appreciate and respect what they do while still criticizing some of the ways that leadership has been releasing some of this info. This isn't. I don't get how people are making this into a race war when this is an issue of big government. Conservatives have been very critical of the way that Missouri law enforcement has been acting for a while, law enforcement heads in particular. You'll remember in 2009 when you had Governor Jay Nixon and the Missouri Highway Patrol, they released the MIAC report, which classified people simply for reading an Ayn Rand book or carrying a military-authorized Gadsden flag as having suspicious potential domestic terrorist behavior. This is also the same state where you have St. Louis County Prosecutor Bob McCullough. He's involved in this. You all remember him. Sheriff Glenn Boyer and Jennifer Joyce and other law enforcement heads, they formed the Obama Truth Squad to go and prosecute, not persecute, but prosecute people that said things that they thought might be untrue about then candidate Barack Obama during 2008. So this has kind of been going on for a long time. And with regards to Ferguson, I lived in downtown St. Louis. I could see the arch from my backyard. I've only been in Dallas for several months. I still have family and friends in Ferguson, and it's a middle-class neighborhood. It may be, it's only 67% black community. They elected a white Republican mayor. They're dissatisfied with the Democrat leadership at the state level. This is a community that was experiencing a renaissance, and now you have a lot of outside agitators, as per the community members themselves, coming in and trying to make this place pop off for their own agenda.
Yeah. All right, Dana Loesch, obviously a lot of passion from Dana, not just on this topic, but on pretty much anything she comes and talks about. Always good to have you,
not
Dana.
Not a shrinking violet,
Thanks
Dana,
for continuing to cause trouble.
Thanks, Dana.
We love it that Dana causes trouble. She's a troublemaker.